What do you do when you find yourself standing outside the gates of hell? Do you knock and wait for an answer? Or do you turn back and never look towards the abyss again? Welcome to Midnight Verdict. Here we take a gander into the darker parts of our world, the things that go bump in the night and the reason you keep your doors locked at night. If this is your first time here, then sit back, relax, and prepare to have your mind blown, because I am here to tell you stories from the darkest corners of our world. Stories of true crime and mysteries so confounding they will leave you questioning the very fabric of reality. Every Wednesday, I will post a new video for you all to enjoy. Each one crafted with such precision that it will have you on the edge of your seat until the very end. Now, before we begin, let me take a moment to warn you about the tales I'm about to share. You see, these stories are rooted in reality, born from actual events that have unfolded in our world. But as the line between truth and fiction blurs, remember that some elements have been introduced to enhance the narrative. In other words, some things were embellished just a tad bit for the sake of storytelling. So while there is truth at the core of these stories, certain details may not adhere strictly to reality. So if you're someone who gets freaked out easily, maybe you should click off now, because once you hear these stories, you won't be able to sleep at night. Our first story involves a missing persons case that has puzzled investigators for years. The victim, a young woman named Sarah, was last seen getting into a car with an unknown man. Witnesses reported seeing the two of them driving off into the sunset, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. As the investigation deepened, it became apparent that the man in the car was no ordinary person. He was a notorious criminal with a long history of violence and a taste for the finer things in life. Sarah's family was desperate for answers, but as time went on, their hopes of finding her alive began to dwindle. The police were stumped, unable to piece together what had happened to Sarah, and the kidnapper seemed to be ghosting authorities. The case went cold, leaving everyone to wonder if they would ever know what happened to her. But as fate would have it, a breakthrough came when a former associate of the kidnapper spilled the beans, revealing the location of Sarah's remains. With heavy hearts, the police and the family went to the location and discovered the truth. Sarah had been brutally murdered, and her body had been hidden in an underground lair accessible only through a trapdoor in the kidnapper's basement. They found her remains carefully preserved by the kidnapper, who had developed a strange obsession with her. He had kept her with him all those years, reveling in the twisted fantasy he had created around her. But why? Why would anyone do such a thing? What kind of monster would kidnap, kill, and then hold on to their victim's remains simply for their own amusement? And what led him to choose Sarah? Was it her beauty, her kindness, or perhaps her naivety? We may never know. But one thing is certain: this case will forever be etched in the annals of criminal history as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the human heart. But this is just the beginning. Just imagine how much more sinister it would become if the kidnapper wasn't human at all, but rather a creature from beyond our world. Something that should never have crossed over into our reality. Picture this. Sarah and the man in the car were involved in some shady business deal gone wrong, but not with a mere mortal. Oh no, this guy was deep into some otherworldly shenanigans, dabbling in things he shouldn't. When his demonic passenger turned out to be something sinister, a being from another dimension whose intentions were far from pure. Imagine Sarah's terror as she realized the gravity of the situation, trapped between the realms of heaven and hell, with a creature that thrived on torment and despair. The rules of this world suddenly ceased to apply, as the demon played by its own set of supernatural laws, bending reality to its whims and toying with Sarah's fate for its own amusement. The police were baffled, unable to comprehend the existence of such beings in our world, let alone their motives. The case became a mystery without a solution, a haunting enigma that defied explanation. And as the story progressed, the line between the known and the unknown blurred, leaving us to question the boundaries of our reality and the horrors that might lie just beyond our perception. Imagine the terror of Sarah's family as they desperately searched for their daughter, unaware of the terrifying truth that lurked in the shadows. Their worst fears were confirmed when the police uncovered the existence of the demon, plunging them into a nightmare they never could have imagined. The revelation sent shockwaves through the town, shattering the sense of security and leaving everyone on edge. Fear became a constant companion, seeping into every corner of their lives as they grappled with the realization that there were forces at play that were beyond their understanding. Our next story takes us to a small town where a series of mysterious deaths has left the residents shaken to their core. At first, it seemed like a tragic coincidence, a random string of bad luck that had befallen their close-knit community. But as the body count rose, fear began to grip the town. People started whispering about a curse, a malevolent presence that was haunting their streets and stealing their loved ones away. But the truth was far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. There was no curse, no mere malevolent presence. It was something ancient, something evil that had awakened and was feeding on the life force of the townspeople. A creature of darkness that reveled in their fear and suffering. The local sheriff, a grizzled veteran of many a mystery, found himself out of his depth. The evidence was scant, the clues elusive and the fear palpable. Each death was more perplexing than the last, defying logic and reason. As the investigation deepened, the sheriff uncovered a horrifying truth. The creature was no myth, no figment of the townspeople's fear-addled imaginations. It was real, and it was growing stronger with each passing day. He found himself racing against time, desperate to stop the creature before it claimed its next victim. The clock was ticking, and with each chime, the creature grew more powerful. Would he be able to save the town from the clutches of the darkness, or would it fall prey to the shadows forever? Let's say the creature was a vampire, preying on the life essence of the town's inhabitants, leaving behind a trail of mysterious deaths. The townspeople, unaware of the true nature of the killings, lived in a state of perpetual fear, their days filled with suspicion and their nights haunted by nightmares. As the sheriff delved deeper into the mystery, he uncovered a web of secrets and lies that ran deeper than he could have imagined. The creature had been living among them in plain sight, its presence biding its time for the perfect moment to strike. But why? What was the motive behind the killings? Was it power, immortality, or simply the thrill of the hunt? And now the most horrifying part, the vampire was immortal, cursed to walk the earth for eternity, its thirst for blood unending. But with each sunrise, its power grew, becoming more potent, more cunning, and more dangerous with every passing year. The sheriff found himself in a battle for the ages, not just for the sake of his town, but for the very survival of humanity itself. As the final showdown approached, the stakes were raised higher than ever before. The fate of the town, perhaps the entire world, hung in the balance. Here's the kicker. The vampire wasn't just any ordinary creature of the night. No, sir, it was something far more sinister, something that should never have existed in our world. It was a demon spawn, a creature of immense power and darkness that had somehow managed to escape the abyss. You heard that right. This wasn't your typical vampire story. This was a tale of cosmic horror, a clash between the forces of good and evil that would determine the fate of our world. It's stories like this that I will bring to life here on Midnight Verdict. Each one designed to send shivers down your spine and keep you up at night wondering if the darkness that I describe could also be lurking in your own backyard. Remember, every Monday I will be posting a new video for you all to enjoy, and if you want to be a part of the Midnight Verdict family, hit that subscribe button. That way you won't miss any of my future uploads. Now go on, get out of here. Go ahead, run along. But don't think for a second that whatever you've heard here today will ever truly leave your mind. The monsters I described are banished back to the shadows from which they came, but that doesn't mean they aren't waiting for their chance to return. So if you value your sanity and the safety of your soul, lock your doors, say your prayers, and never ever look towards the abyss. Because once you do, there's no turning back. And who knows what horrors might be lurking in the depths of my darkest tales. Until next time, stay safe, stay cautious, and above all, stay away from the darkness. For once you step into the shadows, you may never find your way back.